Hello again, and welcome to another one of my Adam's Corner videos. I am Adam Long, the host of the Adam's Corner podcast, where I do these. I do once a month 4K Blu Ray roundup, and these videos are a supplement to the podcast, so you can see what I'm actually talking about or some of the new releases. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and tackle some of these new releases that have either been released or are forthcoming. So let's talk about them, shall we? I guess the big one that everyone is excited about is this one. That would be Network from Criterion. This is one that's been long anticipated, a 4K Ultra HD release. I thought the transfer was quite good. It's a scan from the original negative. It looked pretty organic to me. The audio is, I think, 2.0, so nothing spectacular there, but it's such a dialogue-driven film, you're not really going to notice. I thought that it was a pretty good representation of the film, and the Blu Ray was pretty good. That was out, that's been out for probably at least 15 years, I would say, but this new release is a definite, it's a nice step up. And there is the Making of Network, a 6-part documentary that was on previous releases. The Patty Chayefsky Collector of Words documentary that is currently running on HBO Max, and it's been replicated here. The audio commentary with Sidney Lumet from previous releases of the film, and there's a booklet here as well, as you can see. Oh, there you go. So, bottom line, I would recommend picking up Network if you are a fan of this film, and if you're a serious fan of cinema, I don't know why you wouldn't be a fan of this film. And I don't think I really need to say more about Network on 4K, except that it definitely gives you what you expect and what you'd hope for in terms of transfer and video and audio. So anyway, that's the only Criterion release I have. So we'll move on to another label. We'll move on to Kino Lorber, and timed to coincide, I believe, with Black History Month is the biopic of Scott Joplin, starring Billy D. Williams. Of course, Scott Joplin was the famous ragtime pianist who is best known for The Entertainer, which was used as the title track for The Sting. And this is a biopic about, musical biopic about his life. It was originally designed to be, or intended, I'll get it out. It was originally intended to be a made-for-television film, but they decided at the 11th hour to release it in theaters. And it's directed by Rob Cohen, I believe. No, Jeremy Paul Kagan directed this. And he directed the ill-fated sequel to The Sting, and also The Chosen. Rob Cohen was the producer on this. He was also involved with the Fast and the Furious franchise. So there's a theatrical trailer here and a commentary by the director of the film. And so Scott Joplin, I'm glad to see this getting released. I remember my father having the soundtrack to this, soundtrack album to this. My father was a big Scott Joplin fan. I am as well. And it's typical of most musical biopics. Some of the true details of what really happened can be fudged a little bit, but that's okay. It's a pretty good film, originally released by Universal in 1977. So Scott Joplin, another Kino Lorber release that's been much anticipated, is the 4K Ultra HD release of Somewhere in Time. It was announced over a year ago, I believe, but they finally got around to putting it out. New HDR Dolby Vision Master from a 4K scan of the original negative. And I just actually got this in the mail today, so I haven't gotten a chance to look at it, but it has all of the archival features from previous releases, and it has a new commentary by one of my online friends, Julie Kurgo. She does great work, and the writer-filmmaker Peter Hancock. And and this is, again, a Laurent Boutsero documentary on the making of the film. He also did the documentary on the making of Network. So, and then there's a thing about the Somewhere in Time fan club, a featurette here. This is just a great film that's written by Richard Matheson, based on his novel, directed by Jeannot Schwark, who we lost last year, unfortunately. And it's a shame he didn't live long enough to see this get a 4K Ultra HD release, but we have it now, and I am so glad we do. Moving along to another Kino Lorber release is a new documentary about Heather O'Rourke. And this is, I wasn't even familiar, I didn't even know there was a documentary about Heather O'Rourke until I received a press release, and I requested this one. And she, of course, was the child actress who portrayed Carol Ann in the Poltergeist films and died at the age of 12. Yeah, her death fueled all kinds of speculation. There were rumors of cursed sets, hidden Hollywood dangers, lingering questions around her final days. So yeah, I'm not sure about this film. I haven't read any reviews about it, but it includes interviews with some of the cast members from the Poltergeist films, and the director of the third film, Gary Sherman. He's on hand to talk about her. So yeah, there's no extras on this, but I can't wait to look at this. It's just a DVD only release. And I'll talk about a couple of things that I picked up from Orbit DVD. These were not review copies per se, but I bought them anyway because I wanted them. And these, there's never been a domestic release of David Lynch's The Straight Story, but it's been released on Blu Ray and now 4K in Europe from Studio Canal. And so I picked up the 4K because I never got around to getting the Blu Ray. This is a beautiful film, of course, one of my favorite films of David Lynch's career, about one man's journey across America. It features a great performance by Richard Farnsworth, who unfortunately took his own life not long after the film came out. And there's all kinds of, there's a commentary here. There's interviews with David Lynch, making of, on set, featurette, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So it's just a beautiful film that I'm glad that Studio Canal issued on 4K. Another film that never got a high-definition domestic release that I'm quite the fan of is 1991's Frankie and Johnny. I always had a soft spot in my heart for this film. I thought it was a great film about loneliness and connecting, and I'll admit Al Pacino's character is a little bit on the creepy side with his obsessiveness over Michelle Pfeiffer's character, but nevertheless, the film has a lot of laughs and some real heart and some serious stuff going on too. I was really taken by this film when I saw it in theaters in October of 1991, and I've interviewed Jane Morris, who was one of the cast members on my previous podcast, and she talked to me about the film. And it's a shame that they didn't get any of the cast members from the film on extras here. They could have gotten her. I'm sure she would have chatted about it like she did with me. There's only an audio commentary by film historian Scott Harrison, a new commentary that is, and there's a trailer, and that's it. But I am told that it's a good transfer of the film. Like I said, no high-definition release in America. So I picked these up at Orbit DVD in Asheville, North Carolina. They have an online store as well as their retail store. So getting along to another really exciting release for me. And again, these are the Arrow video releases. I don't get the actual packaging with these, just what they call the check discs. And it's just the disc only with no packaging, but that's okay. At least I have them, and I'm so glad. And that I got the early copy of Salem's Lot, Tobe Hooper's Salem's Lot, which features not only the original television cut of the film, as it was intended, but the theatrical release version, which has never been issued on DVD or Blu-ray, and now it's in 4K on a separate disc. And you get all kinds of new stuff, new commentaries, new, behind-the-scenes stuff, just all kinds of goodies here. And the packaging is splendid. I've seen the packaging. I wish I may be tempted to pick one up eventually. But anyway, Salem's Lot being issued by Arrow Video, part of their licensing agreement from Warner Brothers. And The Birthday is another one of their releases. This is, again, 4K release. Not really familiar with that title. But a couple more here. We have Red Sonja with, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Not one of my favorite films, but getting a 4K release nevertheless. And then we have the Aichi Kudo Samurai collection. I wasn't really familiar with these. Limited edition Blu-ray set. And we have there's 3 films here in this set. The Great Killing, and 13 Assassins, and we have 11 Samurai is the 3rd film. So anyway, I wasn't familiar with any of these films, but they're out there if you want them. The Dancing Hawk and The Agitator are 2 releases from Radiance Films that are coming your way. And so Radiance Films does some great work with some underseen titles, and they keep they keep on doing what they're doing, and I hope they do for some time to come. And a few other things here. We have an 88 Films release of Sakuran, which I wasn't really familiar with. This is a Blu Ray release of this film, and it's a limited edition, I do believe, 4,000. Sakuran, wasn't really familiar with this. This is the one I have is number 2039 out of 4,000. So yeah, this is region A and B, but it has some, I don't really see a lot of bonus material here, maybe not any bonus material, but anyway, it's available. Duel to the Death is this is another release from 88 Films, part of they're reissuing these Hong Kong films, and this is another one of those. This one actually takes place in China and Japan, and this is the explosive directorial debut of action master Tony Ching. So anyway, Duel to the Death from I'm trying to figure out the year 1983, and the last one we just talked about, I forgot to put talk about the release date. That was 2007 on that one. And last but not least is the animated series of Spaceballs, the animated series. MBD Rewind is putting this out. And the film's original stars, Joan Rivers and Daphne Zuniga, reprised their roles for the voices there. And I don't even remember this series being out there. I'm sure that it was 13 episodes. I can't remember whether it played on cable. I'd have to do some research. I just didn't even remember this, and so somehow it escaped me. But I am interested now to find out about the show. And Mel Brooks was one of the co-creators on it, and he had some creative input there. But Spaceballs, the animated series. So that pretty much wraps up what this video is all about with the latest releases I've received. That's quite a few there, either ones that I've purchased or ones that I have actually received from the distributors, whom I appreciate. So I'm going to sign off on this video, but if you have an inclination, like, subscribe, and comment. I love commenting or hearing your comments and bantering it up with you. So please do that. Let's interact if you feel so inclined. And until the next time, keep those discs spinning.